During the moment of silence tonight, would everybody please send your thoughts and prayers to the Walker family of former clerk treasurer of Cedar Lake, Cleta Walker, passed away. So please remember her in your prayers. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call.
Robert Carnahan.
Here.
John Foreman.
Present.
Julie Rivera is absent. Ralph Miller.
Present.
Colleen Scheeben. Here. Richard Sharp.
Here.
Randy Niemeyer.
Present.
I am present. Rick Everly.
Present.
David Austin.
Present.
We have a quorum. We'll start with public comment on agenda items. Is there any public comment on agenda items? Public comment on agenda items. Any public comment? Public comment is closed. We have our consent agenda, which is the minutes of the February 16, 2021 meeting. Use and fee waiver requests. Lynette Kubel, Children's Snow Painting, Town Grounds Use and Fee Waiver 3/7/21. Cedar Lake Chamber of Commerce, Town Grounds Use and Fee Waiver for 6/12/2021. And Cache Creek Clubhouse Use and Fee Waiver 8/7/2021. Claims are all town funds, $195,255.30. Wastewater operating of $12,071.21. Water utility of $57,035.16. Stormwater $4,236.14. And payroll for February 4 and February 18, 2021 of $495,913.00. Is there a motion to accept and waive the reading of the minutes and accept the consent agenda as listed?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Miller,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Scheeben. Questions or discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Cache Creek, what is that again? Rick?
They are a nonprofit. You
Okay.
can see that on page 2 of your packet,
Okay.
Foreman. They're a nonprofit,
okay.
local adopters, pet adopters.
Oh, that's right.
That
Yep,
operate out of Alsa.
I remember now. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Carnahan?
I've noticed in the claims that we're approving $31,000 in rock salt. And I'm just concerned, I looked down there today and the thing is just about empty. So do we have enough money to continue to buy after we approve the $31,000 claim on this docket?
They still have a budget available. Whether or not it's enough to get us through the year, I cannot speak to that since I'm not a public works director.
Bob, I heard that there's going to be no more snow.
I
Let's just
hope
get
so.
to that story.
But then we've got next fall to take care of it. We may get
No,
snow.
we're
too,
not going
so
to get any snow until next January now, Bob.
Okay,
Let's stay with that story.
all right.
No March storms this year, please. Thank you. Any other questions or discussion on the motion? Roll call vote.
Robert Carnahan.
Yes.
John Foreman.
Yes.
Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Colleen Scheeben. Yes. Richard Sharp.
Yes.
Randy Niemeyer.
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Ordinances and resolution. Item 1 is ordinance 1376, annexation, Baltimore CLBD South. Mr. Austin, we had a public hearing previously on this, correct?
We did.
Where we had an introductory reading, so this would be the first reading.
No, this is the adoptive reading.
Adoptive, got it. This is the adoptive reading of ordinance 1376, annexation. Mr. Sharp, by its title, Mr. Austin, explanation.
Ordinance number 1376, an ordinance annexing certain contiguous land to the town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, and all matters related thereto.
Thank you.
This is the request for annexation of 28.672 acres into town. This is immediately south of the Hen property, Action Plumbing property on US Route 41. It's proposed for business, commercial, and industrial park. Folks have met all the requirements and are waiting to get in here to see our plan commission.
Thank you.
If adopted tonight, I'm prepared to notice the adoption in the newspapers tomorrow.
Thank you. Is there a motion by the council on the adoptive reading of ordinance 1376?
I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 1376.
Motion by Mr. Foreman. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Sheben. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman.
Yes.
Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Colleen Scheeben.
Yes.
Richard Sharp.
Yes.
Randy Niemeyer.
Yes, motion carries 6-0. BZA item 1 is Sikorovich, special use variance 13930 Lowerman Street, special use variance to allow the petitioner to have a multifamily residence within a B1 medical office in an R2 zoning district. Mr. Everly?
Mr. President, I would defer to Mr. Austin. I don't attend the BZA
Thank you.
meetings, and I know Mr. Austin was there and prepared the certification, so if you don't mind, I defer to.
Okay.
This is a use variance application to the town for use of the Hanover House property on Lowerman Street in the 13900 block. We have new owner operators, if you will, who have, they're actually doctors. Will be conducting what is called televisit,
Telehealth?
telehealth
Right.
there, but the structure is and has been set up for apartment use also. So there's a combination of uses. This matter was before the BZA on 3 occasions. It was continued for further information, further clarification, and the like. The result was a favorable recommendation certification from the last public meeting at which the continued public hearing was held. You will note the certification provides for conditions. These were reflective in the public meeting dialogue that was had and in minutes of the meeting that I think are forthcoming. I haven't seen the final draft or final minutes. BZA will see them next week.
Yes.
My recommendation would be that the minutes, when approved, be appended to the certification and or the approval documentation. It was unanimous vote, by the way, also.
For the record, the conditions were allow 4 apartments on the premises, allow a 600 square foot family telemedicine medical office facility on the property, allow in-house medical patients by appointment only with hours of operation from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. 5 days a week with an occasional Saturday. Further, no businesses shall be conducted on Sundays. Petitioners required to come back to the BZA for any additional use of space contingent upon completion of building repairs for the building to be code compliant, to be evidenced by a certificate of occupancy from the town planning and building department. Those are the conditions for the record. There's a 4-0 favorable recommendation from the BZA. Is there a motion?
Are you here in the audience? You want,
The owner and the architect. are
I'd
here.
like them to maybe just say a brief word before we vote on it.
Okay.
Sure. My name is Steve Sikorovich. I'm a board certified family physician, and my partner, Irina Polikova, she's also a board certified family physician. We both have several years of experience and are looking to open up an outpatient practice, which is going to be which is going to be a hybrid. It's going to be both telemedicine as well as kind of patients coming in to see us in the office. So that's why the office component is necessary.
There's a bit of a medical desert in Cedar Lake, so definitely a needed service.
Yeah.
So thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
And this type of service is becoming more common today, where you do telemedicine, where you talk to a doctor. If there's nothing really serious wrong with you, you can do that online.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Bob, do you wear your gloves when you telemedicine?
I don't do telemedicine there. Thank you.
Okay, we have a favorable recommendation And
Operate on you.
the conditions were read into the record by me. Is there a motion by the council to approve the favorable recommendation with conditions?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Carnahan. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Miller. Questions or discussion on the motion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Austin?
would the motion maker consider adding the certification
Of the
to
minutes?
and the minutes?
Yes.
Yes.
Concur, Ralph? Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion on the motion?
I just had a question. I believe there's more than 4 units there now, isn't there?
No,
No.
there's actually 3 there, 3 being used now.
I see.
There were 4 approved originally for the building.
I see.
1 became unused, but they intend to use all 4 apartments
I see.
and the commercial space.
Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman.
Yes.
Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Colleen Scheeben. Yes. Richard Sharp.
Yes.
Randy Niemeyer.
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Thank you.
Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Doctor.
New business, soccer shots agreement for a fee waiver and use of the grounds. Mr. Eberly.
Mr. President, I don't think Mr. Austin had a chance to put the agreement together. It's going to be similar to the farmer's market agreement. Emily Lenahan is in the audience. There she is. Emily Lenahan is with us this evening. It's her program that she's wanting to operate for us, which I think is very fortunate because we weren't prepared to do our own soccer program this year.
Awesome.
She'd like to use the town grounds for that. She has provided the information, Mr. Austin, that you asked for, the extra. There's 4 or 5 items that you asked for. So she has provided those. We forwarded those to Dave. And Dave's in the process of preparing that agreement for the use. And if you like any comments from Emily, she's here to provide them.
I don't know who Soccer Shots is. What's your reputation? How long have you been in business? Tell us about yourself.
I would love to. In fact, thank you so much for having me here tonight. I actually have information for each one of you. If
Great.
I have your permission to bring these folders up for you.
That would be
I'm
terrific.
Dropping them.
Thank you.
Little highlighter.
Thanks.
On the right-hand side of your
Thank you.
folder, you're going to see information just
Thank you.
pertaining to my program. On the left-hand side, I included the information that Mr. Austin requested. And so I have that. So Soccer Shots is a non-competitive soccer program. It is a franchise, and it's been in business for 15 years. I personally have owned Northwest Indiana for over 3 years now. I operate Soccer Shots in daycare centers and preschools, and I also offer public programs. I'm currently in the town of St. John, in the town of Cherville, Dyer, looking to expand this season in particular now that COVID is reaching a point where families are feeling more comfortable. We're offering something outside. Enrollment has kind of exploded, and looking for places that families can have this type of program to have their child participate in.
Are you prepared for the amount of people that you will have here in Cedar Lake in this program?
Well, I prepared myself for Saturdays, and that's what I'm prepared to do right now. Hiring coaches is always my hardest part, but I have a really great set of coaches right now who are ready to dive in. They're young, they're healthy, they're excited to be teaching soccer to young kids, and it is a super fun program. So I myself am a mom. I have 3 boys that have all played soccer, so I've been quite the soccer mom. And this program really speaks to me because it's something unique. It's offered 1 time a week, which I think really speaks to families. I know I was overwhelmed taking my children to 2 practices a week and a game. We offer an opportunity for children to be healthy, to stay active, and to just do it once a week so it's not overwhelming. Another part of our program that stands out from others is that we offer character development. So every session that a child attends, they're going to hear a word that is going to mean something to them. It's going to be respect, confidence, determination. And these are words that they're going to take home to their families and they're going to use and be part of their lives. And we want them to be great, upstanding citizens of the community.
So in hiring your coaches and or referees or people working with children, obviously, what type of background checks
Yep, so we do a background check with a company called Unique Background Solutions, and it lists in there the things that they check for, pedophiles, things like that, all those sexual predators, those are all checked. Any local jurisdictions, so Lake County, Porter County, wherever they've lived before are checked. So it goes through any addresses that they've lived before, and it does those local checks in those areas. We also have them train for usually at least one full season. And I run like 6 to 10 week seasons. So I currently have a coach that's just finished his training and he's ready to coach by himself. I prefer for coaches for there to be more than one, accountability, safety, and all those types of things.
Do you charge a fee for this?
I do charge a fee for it. And we do all that on our online enrollment platform, which we have set up.
Okay,
So what I'm requesting is a fee waiver for use of the land so that we can do a revenue share with the town.
So does that mean the people in Cedar Lake will be getting a discount?
No, it does not mean that.
Question.
Sure.
The farmer's market had a question about if you would be doing this on the second and fourth Wednesday.
I have right now requested just to do Saturday morning.
Okay, right, that answers the question on that.
Beginning April 10th, correct?
Correct.
Emily, that's your hope.
That's
Beginning April
Rick,
10th,
we-
go through,
Did you
end
get
of
the
May.
numbers from Jill of how many kids signed up last time? I know this COVID kind of canceled soccer
Right.
last year, but the previous year we had record attendance. Do you remember that number, Jen?
It was over 200.
It was over 200, yeah.
I mean, we had a lot.
And
Well,
what-
I keep class sizes small, so I am limited in what I'm able to do. One of the reasons I keep class sizes small is because it's so personal and because of the character development. I'm also able to offer soccer to families that may not feel like they belong in a recreational sport atmosphere, that maybe their child isn't ready or allowed for that. So I will take autistic children or children who stumble and fall and aren't ready for that. So I keep my class sizes small so that they get that
What's your
personal.
capacity?
My capacity is 10 children per class, and I can offer as many as 5 classes in the morning.
So 50 total kids
Mm-hmm,
and we had over 200.
mm-hmm.
That's not going to go over well. Now that will not be received
Well, it is
really well by the
non-competitive,
community.
so it's not for everyone. It's not
Yeah.
what everyone's gonna be looking for.
That's going to make a big difference.
So I
think,
wouldn't
Emily.
call the recreational league we had here as necessarily competitive. I mean,
Well, we don't play games. So our children are there for, to learn a soccer skill
Mhm.
and then to participate in scoring a goal and to have time to learn how to play the game of soccer. They're not playing against other teams or other individuals. So that's another reason that this works really well with COVID. The kids that are in the class are the kids that are playing together. That's it.
so
Makes
it's,
it super easy for contact tracing and anything like
so
that.
it's more like a soccer clinic rather than a recreational league.
I like to refer to it as a preschool classroom with a soccer ball at their feet.
What's the age group? Is there an age?
I start as young as 2 and I go up to 8.
2 to 8, okay.
And how much space are you gonna need?
I don't need a very large space. The size of this room is plenty of space for me. Outside.
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I believe our fees are very low here.
Okay.
I would vote no on the fee waiver.
Ralph,
Okay.
did you read in here that there would be $10 per kid coming back to the town?
Right. There's a cost sharing from
There's a-
her
there's a-
No, I
program.
didn't.
Yeah, there's a revenue sharing in here.
Revenue share,
Which
okay.
I think will be more than what our normal fee.
Fees, okay,
That's the way Emily does it in the other communities.
Correct.
Yes, it's in the packet here, Ralph.
okay.
I think it's great.
I particularly honed in on some of that.
Not
Okay.
opposed, but I don't think it should replace our soccer that
And
we've done in the
I
past.
never
agree.
would
Yeah.
want
I would
that.
agree.
So if we're not prepared to do it this spring, we need to be sure we're prepared to do it in the fall.
Yeah.
For
Yeah,
sure.
I agree because I think some of those older kids need an opportunity too. I mean, if we had 200 plus,
My kids, my nieces and nephews,
Right.
my grandkids love it. They've all been through it.
so we,
200 kids out there. I mean, we need to have our own soccer going.
yeah, I think the young kid soccer clinic thing is fine, but that should be in addition to,
Yes.
right? The
I
other
absolutely
I
programming.
agree, and I never would want to, my, like I said, my children have played. This is not a thing to.
Totally
compete with.
different thing.
Yes, absolutely.
So I just want to make sure if we can't do it this spring, that we are set to go in the fall for our kids here in town.
And I'm always
And I have
happy.
no problem with what you're doing.
Oh, yeah, and I'm always happy to be that stepping stone for those families that are like, what's next for us? My child's 2, they've played soccer with Soccer Shots for 2 years now. They're 4, they're ready to get in there and really play a game. I'm always happy to recommend the community that they're already in.
Sure.
That's the best step.
Yeah, and I would anticipate that by this fall, we'll also see a lot more of an open approach to life again by that time, since the vaccine is rolling out, fairly quickly, and hopefully the people that need to be vaccinated can get vaccinated by that time, and people can go back to living. So, Rick, maybe as an addition to this, we need to look at how we can put together the robust type of soccer programming that we've been used to having here for the fall season.
Yes. I can tell you also, the folks from Faith Church have reached out to Jill, and she set up a meeting coming up pretty shortly for
Okay.
she and I to meet with those folks, because they want to help create a soccer program over at Faith Church as well for the community.
Great.
So
That'd be great.
we're going to be meeting with a couple of folks from Faith Church here in the next couple of
Good.
weeks.
I
Good
think the
deal.
more the better.
Yep. Good deal. Okay. So we still have the issue of Mr. Austin's review of some things at hand. So council, keep that in mind on any motion that you might make on the request on the agenda item that we have here today. Anybody have any more questions for Ms. Lenahan?
Nope.
Mr. Austin, any questions?
This is really kind of a cold splash.
Mhm.
And I'm not certain what your thoughts and your concerns would be for an agreement. I have a marketing brochure and a supplement to that. And the items I asked about or suggest to be reviewed are basic due diligence. So I wouldn't, at this point, unless I get some specific directions or staff level we work on it, I don't know what to draft for you.
You did share a village, right?
No,
No?
no.
But Cherville got approved, right?
Yes.
But did you do it for the town of Cherville or as a preschool?
No, I did it through the town of Cherville, the town of St. John, and the town of Dyer.
Okay.
And they signed an agreement with that brochure.
Not with the brochure, with the, actually, yes, with the proposal that I included in their folders, with a proposal like that, yes. And certificate of insurance, that was all they required.
I don't represent the park board there, Bob.
And her certificate of liability is in your.
Yes, I see it, yeah.
Yep, I see it in here.
If there's any other information that Mr. Austin needs for this, we'd be glad to work with Emily to provide it.
I'd be happy to provide whatever is necessary.
Items on the agenda for consideration: Soccer Shots agreement for a fee waiver and use of the town grounds, and to sign an agreement with Soccer Shots to provide the programming as described. Is there a motion by the council?
I make a motion per your description
To approve
to
it?
approve.
Thank you. Motion by Mr. Foreman. Is there a second?
I second, Randy.
Second by Mr. Sharp. Are there questions or discussion on the motion?
The motion is to accept this,
Accept the agreement, approve the,
approve through the attorney.
Through an agreement, whether it's
Yeah.
drafted.
would be to accept the agreement as presented with the fee waiver and use of the town grounds.
Correct.
That's the motion on the table. Motion was by Mr. Foreman, second by
Rick.
Mr. Sharp.
But is the attorney gonna review it?
That was not in the motion.
That was not in the motion, no. We have, I looked through and read what she handed us, reviewed a certificate of liability. If you'd feel better, I would say contingent upon the certificate of liability insurance being adequate for the town. I'd add that to my motion.
You concur, Mr. Sharp?
I do concur, Randy.
Thank you. Any other questions or discussion on the motion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
No,
Colleen Scheven,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
Randy Neimeyer.
No, motion carries 4-2. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's approved. Item 2 is placemaking pier, Cedar Lake Historical Association. Julie.
We came before the town council last week in executive session to present the request to have a placemaking pier approved out in front of the museum. We have raised grant funds to fully fund that pier. And so we were requesting that you would allow us to move forward with the installation of such pier.
Mr. Miller?
yeah, we had a follow-up meeting yesterday from our meeting with the police department, the fire department, and DNR. One of the problems that came up is the police had made a comment that last year, when they were going to put their boat away in that, the pier wasn't out far enough. The DNR happened to be at our meeting, and Terry is going to follow up with us and get us to, we've got a draft here of a picture. If you want to give one to Dave. Going to be able to take the pier out to 200 feet.
Awesome.
On one side of, we're going to have a 30-foot by 24-foot block at the end of it that we're going to have some benches on and that you can go out and view the lake. On the right-hand side, we're going to have 3 slips for the public. On the left side, we're going to have 4 slips for the fire, police, DNR. And then we have a slip over there in case there's a boat emergency out there and we have to, the police or fire have to bring a boat in. We've got a place that we can dock that boat. We're going to, instead of coming off of the sidewalk, going to the front door of the museum, we're going to go off of the sidewalk of the pier where the pier is right now. And that will be better use if we want to back an ambulance up or that. The pier is going to be handicap accessible. We will be able to get a stroller in that, or the fire department can get their cart and all of that to be able to wheel people in and out. We're going to have lights on the pier. We're going to have some ladders on the pier. And what we want to do is what we have in front of you right now, we want to put out for bids, and we're going to get 3 different bids on it. And we are planning on using the park impact fee to pay for the pier. And we're
Bless you.
looking at the Historical Association coming up with things that they need for their grant, which will be some of the lighting, some flagpoles, some of the benches. We're going to be able to put some signs on there with history in that of Cedar Lake. So we're going to do it in joint with the Historical Association.
I have a couple comments if I may, Ralph.
Sure.
I think that the fire, police, DNR slips are on the wrong side of the pier. They should be on the north side because we have the beach on the south side.
Okay, we did that on purpose, Bill, or John.
Yeah.
We're out 200 feet.
Right.
This is going to be blocking the people in boats and all of that.
And I
from
also
getting in
think
there.
that we should have 4 for the public and 3 for the police, fire, and DNR. I just think it should be flip-flop. That's my 2 cents.
Mr. Foreman?
Yeah.
First off, we moved the boats to the south for a purpose. The biggest purpose was Julie having an open view to the museum.
Oh, okay.
So people would be able to see the museum, be able to take pictures along with the placards that she's going to put up, the large permanent signage that she's going to put up that goes along with her grant. So this gives an open view to the public. Okay, the second reason we put the slips to the south was because it kind of gave us an area where we blocked off the swimming area, stopping other boats from coming in the swimming area. If you haven't been down here during the summertime, it's getting busier and busier every summer where there's a lot of kids swimming down here. Moms coming down with their kids during the daytime. So we wanted to make sure that we didn't have any potential boats coming in that area while there's kids swimming. And the third part was that for our slips being on that south end, it's a little bit deeper, not much.
Gotcha.
We did measure out at 200 feet. We're only 42 inches deep at 200 feet right now, which is still pretty good as long as we're above the 6 foot line. If we get to 6 foot, then it's going to require some other things. The 200, it's only about 30 feet more than what we currently have, so which is okay. DNR doesn't.
Why do you need an empty slip though? I think
The
you
empty
should give
slip was
four to
for-
the public.
For
three
two
to
reasons.
DNR.
The empty slip was for two reasons. One, from time to time, we have to pull boats off the lake, whether it's a problem with the boat, an arrest,
Okay.
whatever it is, and it gives us a spot to store that boat. Or the most common one is they come off of other people's lifts and we don't know who they belong to. So we would be able to pull the boat in, throw it in that slip, and it's protected, along with our 3 slips where DNR, the fire department, and the police department have ours on our lifts. Okay. On the public side, we went with 3 simply because we didn't want to block too much of the view of the building. That's the whole basis behind this, is to have a beautiful view of the historical building along with all the placards. The more slips we put out there, the more boats we're going to get docking up to it, which is going to ruin the view of the.
Well, I think the motivation behind the Historical Association is to get people to stop. And 3 slips just doesn't seem like enough, if you ask me. That's my 2 cents. I would do 4 and 3. I'd do 4 for the public, 3 for us. And then if you needed one of those for someone else's boat when those rare occurrences happen, use it. And that's locked up for the day or two until, so you're blocking it. You can put police order, or put your boat there, and that's all I'm saying.
Is there not?
Try to make it more
Is
user
there
friendly
not
for the
enough
residents.
space just to add another slip, have 4 and 4?
That's a possibility. I don't know
Yeah,
if
we
they have
got
enough
room.
money. Probably more of a financial thing than, wouldn't you rather have 4 for the public? I know you don't want to fight, you just want to hear it.
Look, I was gonna have like a tea shop back. I'm sorry.
I'm making it better for the
I
public.
know, I understand, I understand.
Julie, how much has,
Technically though, the 4th, if you could have on the end, if, depending on what you all approve, a 4th slip, just
True.
put on the end.
how much has the CLHA raised through
So
grants?
this is part of a larger program. So STEAM Through History is a special week that'll be going on July 26th through the 30th that we raised $44,000 to fund. And 18,000 of that was to put in the pier that we minimally needed in order to accommodate our boat requirements. And then the rest of it is all programmatic and these different like the placards for the pier, but also lots of programs that we actually have going on and expenses related to literally bringing the boat here and things like that. So.
I see in the proposal, Rick, that you talked about CDGB money. What's the possibilities of the use of that? So explain a little bit about the fund. I know we've talked about park impact fee, but talk about CDGB because we do need to use that
We do.
on something ADA compliant.
We do, and we have actually, we have $76,000 and just a fraction over that we have are available to us to spend, and we have to spend that by June 1st. We do have a plan to spend that. Tim could address that better than I, but it's ADA curb ramping throughout town that we have.
Okay.
So we're ready to spend that money. I did check with Tim Brown at the Lake County Community Development to see if we could spend the CDBG money, because at that time I was asking him, I hadn't yet talked to Dave. Ralph wound up talking to Dave to see if we could use park impact fee money, and the answer was yes, so that's a great thing. But for CDBG, we could spend the money if it qualifies as a low to mod income area, and that's got to be determined yet. If it qualifies, then we have to amend our plan for the expenditure of the $76,000 in order to do this, which Tim said we can. But he said we cannot spend more than $75,000 on the pier. We think the pier is likely going to come in higher than that with everything that we need to make it ADA accessible. So I did send Tim an email today asking him if we only spent 75,000 of CDBG money, could we supplement that with the $18,000 that Julie's got in her grant or park impact fee money as well? And I haven't heard back from him yet. So park impact fee money is cleaner.
It's the
It's
simplest.
ready now.
Mhm.
We don't have any hoops to go through for that.
And we have cash in the account.
We do. We could write a check today if we needed to, because I'm told, somebody mentioned in the meeting that we'd have to have a $30,000 down payment on whatever pier we choose. So the park impact fee is more readily available.
Okay.
If the CDBG money is available and you want to use it that way, we may be able to.
If
do
there's
that.
a project already earmarked for that
Yes, sir.
CDGB that, benefits more citizens, I'm all in favor of that. I mean, that's,
We have more CDBG money. We're involved in another round of that, but we won't get that money nearly in time to do a pier this
the
year.
park impact fee money makes sense
Makes
because we
most
can
sense.
move on it quickly. There's less red tape.
Yes,
We
absolutely.
can get a pier built. Would this replace the current rickety old pier that's out there for you guys?
Yeah,
Good.
if this pier is approved, Mr. President, then we won't put our old pier in then. The downside right now is that the faster we get it approved, the faster we can get it ordered, because they are talking anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks minimum. That's the last we've been told, for any of the companies. It doesn't matter. There's 3 companies that we're gonna send bids to that are all Indiana companies, or requests from.
And we know based on history, it'll be in the 80s by the first week of April.
Yes.
And so
exactly.
people will be out on the
Wide
lake.
open for us, ready to put in.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But as far as the slip is concerned, Mr. Foreman, we can
Yeah.
add another slip. That's
Yeah,
pennies on the dollar.
I think that's,
I mean, that's pennies on the dollar compared
it's,
to the whole.
if you really
project,
think
so,
you need an extra one
Yes,
for whatever reason, like you described,
yes.
I just think we should make it symmetrical, make it 4 and 4.
Yeah.
It'll
That's
get
fine.
used, and the objective for
You want a
you
place
is to
to
get
park your
people to
boat.
come
Yeah.
visit the museum.
I like the idea of more parking. I'm all for adding.
Yeah.
another one.
He wants a reserve for John Foreman sign.
Foreman.
No.
We just, the other thing we were watching for is the northern part of that is much shallower than where our current pier is located.
I got you.
As you remember, we have those cardboard boat races, and as you get to the north towards the yacht club, it gets up to the knee height
Yeah.
area,
Yep.
so.
Okay. So good luck on adding a 4th slip if it's approved.
It's a very exciting project.
That's cool.
It is a very exciting.
It's definitely well needed, past due. So thank you to the Historical Association.
Yeah, John, Bill, do you think they could check the depth, and if it's deep enough, we'll go with the 4, John?
Yeah.
I don't think we'll have a problem at 200 feet.
Yeah.
So I think we'll be all right. We're still right around the 42-inch mark at 200 feet out.
Yeah.
And actually, when I got the measurement, the person I measured said he still thinks the lake's about 4 to 6 inches lower than normal. So, even with the ice on there. So.
Yeah. Good.
So we should be all right.
What was the grant money that you got for the pier? I thought you said 118,000.
Well, no, we raised $96,909 in 2020 in grant projects. So we're doing an exhibit redesign at the museum as well as other things. The STEAM Through History program was approximately more like 44,000 in grant funds.
Okay, so that includes that. It's not just all for the pier.
Correct. It's an entire week-long program, and there are several facets of that program, humanities programming and other startup expenses that we have to put that program on, and it's all rolled into that.
And Julie, can you give the public some information on that STEAM Through History? Because that is
Yeah.
such a cool thing.
Yeah, so the project is to really bring a piece of our Cedar Lake history back. We haven't had any steamboats on Cedar Lake in at least 80 years. And as you know, Lassen's Resort Hotel is the museum that we operate out of. And Lassen's was founded in 1896 with a single steamboat. And they used to ferry passengers back and forth from the Monon Rail Depot to other points around the lake, including their resort. And so we have partnered with the Heston Steam Museum out of LaPorte, Indiana, and they do have a steamboat. And we're working with DNR right now to get it permitted to being able to bring it here for passenger for hire. But they will be here in July to give our citizens rides on an authentic steamboat from 1910.
Now, isn't there one other part to that that is very unique with the technology as it relates to being able to view the historical part of the lake in a
Yes,
different way?
yes. So a piece of the program
It's amazing.
is that we are developing an augmented reality experience. And so when you download an app to your cell phone and pan it, now we're only gonna have 2 points in the beginning. We'll grow the app as we go along, but for this particular week, you'll be able to pan to 2 different points on the shoreline and you will historically see what used to be there on the Cedar Lake shoreline.
That's so cool.
The most significant thing being the Monastery.
That's big time, George.
Yeah, it's
Big
really
time.
unbelievable. What an
Yeah.
awesome
So the goal is to eventually and ultimately grow that to where almost anywhere on the lake, where we find historic pictures, you will be able to pan your
Yeah.
phone and
Be
see
able to
the
see.
original sites of Cedar Lake from the resort era, which would be the 1880s through about 1930.
Talk about living history, huh?
Yeah, that's
That
it.
is so neat.
That's it.
Yep, so we designed the pier to really be an outdoor exhibit extension of the museum. And so that's where all these panels that we were talking about will come into play and explaining the history of the town, almost as if you were on a trail at one of the parks and you're walking along a path and reading different bits and pieces about that trail that you're walking on. Same kind of thing, because as we all know, if we've been out on the lake, the town looks different from the lake. So we want to give our citizens the opportunity to experience that, whether or not they have a boat of their own, by accessing the pier and then also the boat rides that we can bring to the community.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
And I thought one of the other big comments that you had made is that this pier will be our new front door.
Absolutely. This is the boaters welcome mat to the community. So maybe some people are just launching, from the north end, coming in, riding around and leaving at the end of the day. Well, now they have the ability to stop and step on shore and experience more of our town from a different
It's
way.
great.
And this steamboat, it's not done anywhere in the state of Indiana?
There are no steamboats licensed as passenger for hire in the state of Indiana, which is why we have a little bit of work to do with the DNR, because they just don't know what to do with us.
Yeah.
So we're working through that very diligently to make sure that we can get the boat here on the lake this summer. It's an extremely unique opportunity for our community, but also for the entire state.
Very good. So I'd ask the council in your motion, please include the funding mechanism and whether or not you'd like that fourth slip as a part of this project for the public side. Is there a motion by the council to approve the placemaking pier, the Cedar Lake Historical Association?
I would like to make a motion to accept the pier that I had passed out and to increase the public side to 4 instead of the 3, and put this out for bids and
Utilize what funds? Park impact fees?
use the park impact fees.
Thank you.
I will second that motion.
Motion by Mr. Miller, second by Ms. Sheehan. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes,
Colleen Scheven,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes,
Randy Neimeyer.
Yes, motion carries 6-0.
Thank you.
Awesome.
thank you,
Can't
George.
wait
Good
to
luck.
see it.
Thank you for all your hard work.
Item 3 is Monastery Clubhouse Lease Rental Agreement. Mr. Eberly?
Mr. President, this is something I guess that we've needed to do for a while. We have a gentleman who's been renting the apartment above the clubhouse for a number of years, I'm told. And we need to renew this lease. I'm not proposing that you change the amount that we've been charging. That was left blank in here. It's pretty reasonable what we charge. It's $500 a month. But I'm told, Jen, that he maybe helps with some maintenance over there at maintaining property.
That would be a better question for Public Works.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
But in any case, I don't know how long he's been there, do you?
A long time.
Randy, what committee would we have look at that?
So it's just,
What committee?
I think we haven't had a
I
signed
think
lease in a
we need
while,
to-
so we're just trying to get back
Yeah.
to doing this on an annual basis.
I think we need to have $500 is awful cheap.
Your council affairs.
Huh?
Your council affairs.
Rick, I'd like to make a motion that we defer this to the Council Affairs Committee and let them come back with a recommendation to us.
Okay?
Motion by,
So motion to defer?
motion by Mr. Miller for deferral and then to direct it to a Council Affairs
Affairs
Committee
Committee.
meeting and then come back with a recommendation. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Ms. Sheehan. Questions or discussion? Roll call?
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes,
Colleen Scheeben,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
Randy Niemeyer.
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Item 4 is new street sign funding, Lennar Infrastructure Improvements Fund. Mr. Everly?
And I'll do this with the assistance of Mr. Kubiak, but have you had a chance to hand any of these up? No, I didn't. Okay. I apologize, I've only got 3 of these, but Tim has ordered, and would like to order some new street lights, street signage. These comply with our current standards for street lights.
Street signs?
Street signs, I'm sorry, I keep saying street.
This goes with
Here,
what
Tim,
you've been doing in certain areas already, right, Tim?
This is actually the street sign pole, the black backer of the stop sign, and then the brackets that hold the street sign. So we've been trying to get some money in our sign budget we actually have the signs ordered from Tasty Top to Constitution to change out at Morris at the main road. So we need 17 of these signposts to achieve that. So we got a price of about $8,000 to have TCS to buy them individually. We priced buying
Who is TCS?
the traffic control specialist. So we've priced out the best bang for our buck is if you order 50 of these from the actual manufacturer, and they come out to be $275 a piece.
And we would install them ourselves.
And we would install them
Considerable
ourselves.
amount of money.
And again, to clarify, the Lennar Infrastructure Fund was the money that Lennar offered per lot. I believe it was $1,000 per lot
Yeah.
for whatever use we needed for infrastructure. So this is obviously one of those benefits to that deal with Lennar.
Right, so we were thinking that, looking at the budget, looking at things, we thought this would be a good fit for. So
We just wanted to make sure you're okay with using the Lennar infrastructure money to do this.
Yeah, it's not a huge purchase. What, you got 13, 50, 60?
Right, 13, and that's gonna get us 50. So like I said, that's gonna,
Okay.
17 of them gets us the Constitution. But with 50 of them, we'll be able to keep making our way around Lakeshore Drive and, the main roads of town. So we should 50 will put a real good dent in.
And you brought us this initiative though, a couple years ago with the street signage change to
Correct.
upgrade
And
to our
if you
brand.
notice in
That's
the
our
new
logo.
developments, like that sign is at Beacon Point. So all the
Yeah.
new developments are now having these new.
It has the brand on it and everything.
has the brand on it and
Yeah,
everything.
nice.
So
Great job.
We're trying to get, like I said, we have all the signs ordered for the streets from, right, we have them all. We have all the top, the new. Right.
now, Tim, what
Dave's
is,
been patiently waiting for the vote.
Tim, would it
So
be,
you're hoping we vote yes, huh?
would it be better if you looked and came up with a total that you're gonna need? And
Well, this
could we get a better price
This
if we
was
bought them all?
the 50 was the price, the good price, because you have to pay a pallet charge and a shipping fee and all that. So 50 signs was our best bang for our buck. And again, to be quite honest, I don't want to have, we're probably gonna end up needing 100 at the end of the day, but 50 is quite an undertaking. If we can get these 17.
Accomplish
in.
that goal this
Okay.
year. That's
Right,
all.
if we,
Yeah.
I don't want
Good
to get.
start.
Okay, I just didn't want to slow you down.
It's
Yeah,
filler
50
work.
is-
It's not like you're gonna do it every day.
Right.
You're gonna use this as filler work.
There's tons of time to do it too,
Yeah.
right?
50 of them
Yeah.
is more than I'd like to get, actually, but it makes the most sense financially to get that.
That's what I was getting at.
And what was the price again?
$13,750.60.
And that has nice black things behind the signs and
Yeah.
they're first rate
Yeah.
deal. So.
Look very.
Good
looks
idea.
very nice. Yep.
Is there a motion by the council?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the new street sign funding utilizing the Lennar Infrastructure Improvement Fund.
Thank you.
I will second that.
Motion by Mr. Foreman, second by Ms. Sheehan. Questions or discussion? Roll call?
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes?
Ralph Miller.
Yes,
Colleen Scheeben,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes,
Randy Niemeyer.
Yes, motion carries 6-0.
All right, thanks, guys.
thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
No. Boat slip. It's gonna be better looking pier, chief. It's symmetrical.
Item 5 is the Cedar Lake Historical Association new HVAC installation consent and permit fee waiver. Mr. Everly,
Well, Julie's still with us, so she can tell us
Okay.
what they're looking to do with the.
got it. You're front and center this meeting,
Yeah,
Julie.
yeah. So we got out of the grant. We wrote to the Crown Point Community Foundation in their February 2021 cycle, and we were awarded funds to be able to install another heat pump unit like we already have in the conference room right now, which will provide heating and air conditioning, and we'll put this in what we call the cafe, which is our other large gathering room in the museum. And then we also have enough funds to put in electric fireplace insert into the lobby as well. So ambiance for both rooms, but also more comfort. And then the hope is we can start to do a few more off-season programs as well as a result of this. It's not something we need to run 24/7, but we can start to do maybe some Christmas time things and maybe certainly fall. It'll make fall more comfortable when we have the fall programs for Halloween and things like that. But then also we have, some dreams of doing some more programming in midwinter. If the ice racing is going to be right out in front of the museum, to do some more things and incorporate and expand the things that we can program over
Will
there.
you sell tea and coffee or something?
Pardon?
Are you in the cafe? Are you going to like?
I mean, we call it a cafe. It's just our largest gathering space, but at this point, we don't have the food service.
Oh, I see.
So we can't do anything like that, but my board chair is working on getting us a food
You
service.
might want to talk to
program.
the soccer mom that was here and have
Absolutely,
them
yeah.
do their toys for tots, or
Absolutely.
soccer for tots right
Yeah,
near you and
yeah.
sell some coffee.
Absolutely.
That's a,
Yes.
make a nickel,
Yep, for sure.
nickel more.
Yeah, so what we're requesting is just, for permission to install that, as we've come to you every time we've received a grant for any project that we need to install. We already, we have an electrician and we're using a Summers HVAC in order to install it, so we have all the proper.
What's the value of that installation?
Well, I received $6,200 for the grant, and I think we still need to come up with a little bit out of pocket because it didn't fully fund the request, but that's what I was approved for that, so.
And I think the permit fee waiver is legit for no other reason than the town owns the building and leases it to the historical association. So it makes, they're improving our building, so it makes perfect sense.
Good job again, so, great.
Is there a motion by the council? Cedar Lake Historical Association new HVAC installation consent and permit waiver fee.
Motion to approve as Randy read.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Foreman, second by Mr. Sharp. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Colleen Scheeben.
Yes.
Richard Sharp.
Yes.
Randy Niemeyer.
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Thanks, Julie.
Thanks, Julie.
Reports, town council. Bob, floor is yours first, always.
First of all, since I wasn't here with the opening, did we say anything about Cleta Walker?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, because I saw in the obituary that she was a clerk treasurer from 76 to 83.
If you would like to say any more,
No, I didn't serve underneath her as when she was clerk treasurer, but there was some interesting things that happened, and I don't know if I should air that.
there's interesting things that happen all the time in
Yeah.
local government. So she was a public servant, worked hard at it, and it was a transformational time for Cedar Lake.
Well, maybe I'll say it. When Lillian Faulkner came in after Cleta left, the first thing that Lillian Faulkner did, the clerk treasurer, she fired one of the employees before she even saw her operate in town. That, she sued us. And the judge didn't have her go back to work for the clerk treasurer. The judge made her be hired by the town council. So we had to create a spot and a budget for that person.
Thought you didn't work under her.
No, Bob was in after that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was when Bob started his reign.
Were you a lawyer back then, Dave?
No, but I'm familiar with all this
Okay, I'm sure you are.
in more ways than one.
Wasn't your dad on the council back then?
No,
Late 70s?
yeah, late 70s.
Okay.
He didn't fire her though. Well, Lane did.
Thanks for the story, Bob. Any other reports?
Nope.
Town attorney? Clerk Treasurer?
I have completed and submitted the year 2020 annual financial report for the Cedar Lake Civil Town. I have also completed the year 2020 annual financial report for the Cedar Lake Redevelopment Authority. The debt management information has been submitted on Gateway. The video franchise fee report has been submitted. The year 2020 fiscal report for tourism fund distribution has been completed and submitted to the South Shore CVA. 100R Lake County Solid Waste Annual Report has been completed. So now we move on to personnel items, working with our consultants to finish up the sustainability and the stormwater analysis. And also we will have a public hearing at your next meeting to reestablish the CCD fund. I think that's all I have.
Thank you. Town Manager.
Just to quickly follow up on what Jen was talking about, we do plan to have the financial sustainability plan ready for the council by its April 20th meeting. We have one more committee meeting that we're trying to organize for March 30th in the afternoon on that date. So I'll be sending an email reminder out to those persons on that committee. And then we're keeping our eye on a couple of bills trying to find their way through the state legislature. A couple of them favorable, a couple of them not so favorable. There's a federal stimulus bill piece of legislation moving through that could be very beneficial to communities. I like the Senate Bill 207 that's potentially gonna reduce the restriction on the MVH account, Jen, so that only 40% of it has to be spent on construction projects rather than the current 50%. So keeping an eye on some of those things, Mr. President. I know you are as well, some of that state legislation.
I enjoy that stuff.
I know.
He eats, drinks, sleeps.
Well, I once in a while when I need to get upset,
Yeah.
I turn that on and like really
Yeah.
gets me fired up, and then I got to settle down. So then I go to the gym.
He needs to get upset, he calls me.
Yeah.
You call me and then I get upset. Yeah, that's how that works.
Is that how that works?
Number 5 is Director of Operations.
Just to answer the question about the salt earlier, I think we're in pretty decent shape. We still have 200 tons of salt coming to us that's ordered, which will make a total of 1,200 tons for this winter, which is about 500 more tons than we bought last year. But we currently have probably 400 tons in there, and we're gonna have 200 more coming. And we're not out of money, but salt is definitely, we are number 80 on the waiting list for more salt. So, but we're, trying to be smart about using it. We actually got a couple loads of slag sand for an emergency if we start to get low, where we have an option B just in case if we get to that point. I don't think we will, but we're decently, we're pretty in pretty good shape. So.
The efforts of the crew have been very much appreciated. It's been a rough winter.
It was definitely challenging seeing that we have like 3 guys that have ever even attempted to plow that much snow that are actually on the plow crew. So, and
we had a lot, and it just
if you ask
one day
Jennifer,
after another.
We had quite a few mailbox repairs, Bill, unfortunately, for pushing, just basically snow rolling off the blades and, guys doing it and it was a lot of snow, so.
Yep.
Couple more things
I
for
still
you.
got one more thing, Bob.
Oh, okay.
Hurry up.
The other thing is just in front of the building here, I don't know if any of you noticed here, the yard being dug up again. We've been having a lot of issues with the bathrooms here at Town Hall. We've determined that the sewer line going through the police station is super flat and keeps causing the toilets to clog up due to new toilets, less water usage, and it just every month the toilets are backed up. So we're rerouting the 3 main bathrooms on this side out the front of the building and back to the sewer line. So that's what's going on out there.
Good.
That's it, Bob.
All right, I talked to Rick on Monday, and he informed me we had the garbage trucks couldn't get up a couple of the roads to empty the garbage, and he called you, and we had to go out there and salt those down in order to get them. And we've had a few streets in town that went 2 weeks without any garbage pickup, but that I believe is now resolved.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the most one person, yeah, they got skipped 1 week, and that was that big snow weekend, and we did have some icing issues over in the hilltop in your
Yeah.
area over there, so I mean,
And I got called on
we got out there and salted, again, it's been kind of crazy, because nothing, and we had it nowhere else, but those couple roads, it slipped, the hills, which as soon as we got notified, we got out there and got it done.
My next question, where do we stand on getting a new total patcher?
Look at Jen's.
Because that one,
She's
we
about to plug her ears.
we had it rebuilt and the thing's not functioning like it should. And I understand that the company that builds them is holding one for 2 weeks. That if we want it, because he thinks highly of Cedar Lake because we were the first community that bought one of those. And when we bought it, the entire area started buying them because of what they saw us doing here in Cedar Lake.
Bob, do you work as a sales rep perhaps?
I just want to get a new total patcher because it cost us about, last figures I was told, $35 a ton to use a total patcher, where if you use cold patch, it's about $105 a ton. So we save a lot of money.
I say leave it up to the professionals in Public Works to do what they need.
We're trying to get Jen to find us a way to possibly buy one. The new total patch is $90,000.
That quote we had was $73,000 that we got from the company. No.
They have a total patcher that's completely redone that they want $40,000.
I don't want to buy another piece of somebody's equipment that'll break down on us.
Bob, do you have any pamphlets or brochures to hand out?
No,
Oh, okay.
no, but
We're trying, but, yeah.
As with
Talk to
everything,
Jack.
capital funds are extremely
next year.
limited. And we all need to
Yeah, we
be
have
on
to
the
keep
same
buying the
page
fire
before
department
we
stuff.
move forward.
but when our
Hey,
citizens
water trucks,
try to
you can't buy a new
become
total
potholes,
patcher?
we hear the run of the complaints.
Unfortunately, I can't make it rain money.
I agree, but try to be creative.
The
and
federal
find
government can
some
make it rain money though.
ways to finance it.
Oh, there's so many creative.
We
How
can
much
just
we
keep
gonna
printing
get,
it.
Jen?
We're working
Right.
on it.
All right, thank you.
Okay, anything else, Director of Operations or Bob?
Well,
I have nothing.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Tim.
Police Department, Chief Fisher.
I just got one thing for the council. If y'all recall, a couple of weeks ago, the fire department did an awesome thing by delivering a baby. It was pretty amazing. But on that same day, we lost one of our citizens in town the exact same day. Turned out that day that the lady passed away, that her husband was left alone, no family. And because of that, one of our chaplains was trying to get a hold of him to help with the arrangements for her funeral. And we had to get dispatched over there again, found him to be on the floor. The citizen has been here for 40 years, I think, 40 years. He's been here for 40 years and unfortunately didn't have any real family. We spent about a good hour and a half just trying to get a hold of some kind of family that we just weren't able to find while we were sitting there with him, and it happened to be a council night. So I tasked one of my officers to just assist him. He basically did the first couple of days going over there every single day. But what was most impressive was we contacted the church, which was Holy Name. Holy Name sent over a young lady that's in our audience with us. And she spent the last 2 weeks making sure that someone was in that house to assist this gentleman while they were getting his affairs together, got Adult Protective Services involved, and ultimately got a hold of a family member in Arizona that his sister, who's older than him, and her daughter, who works for the Attorney General out there, which was very amazing. I can't say enough about what Mary Joan did. She helped one of our citizens out that were in amazing need at a time that he couldn't help himself. Had no family, no friends. We went through every phone book that his wife pretty much took care of everything. He was a veteran also. And every name was scratched out. And when I discussed it with them, I'm trying to figure out why the names are scratched out. Well, they had all passed away. And so it was a difficult time. But I just want to say publicly, thank you to Mary Joan and Corporal Alande and the people that helped Mary Joan for the citizen. I'm not going to give you his name, but it was amazing to see just the help that we needed. Through that, the police department is looking into a program where we will be able to call senior citizens every day, especially those that are by themselves. We're looking at a couple options right now of how we can do that. But just to make sure that the citizens are okay, if they don't answer after the third ring, we send an officer over there. But I just wanted to publicly say thank you to Mary Joan for what she did in helping that gentleman out as he severely needed it. So thank you very much.
It's a great story, great report. Thank you again, Mary Jo.
Thank you.
Fire Department, Chief Wilkenny.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's a lot of those stories out there in our community. We see it all the time with going on medical calls. One thing that Bill didn't mention was the police and fire helped him get to the funeral as well. He wasn't able to do that on his own, so we all got together and come up with a game plan and helped get him to the church and get him back and forth. So we need to do more of that for people in our town. We don't. There's so many people out there you walk away from and don't realize that they need more help. So a couple things I have is ambulance update. We're talking middle of May now. It's kind of bouncing back and forth. In April, we'll be sending 2 people down there to take a look at the midpoint build of it. The township trustee advised me that in April we'll be opening up bids for a new tanker. And I'm getting quotes right now for improvements from the fire station for the money that was allotted to see the increases. I'm having a little bit of hard time finding more than one contractor that wants to do those big jobs or that type of work. So I talked to Tim today, so we're going to come up with a game plan. And then the last thing was, we mentioned last month that we had dispatch issues. And I know we're trying to get something together. Have we gotten anywhere with sitting down and talking? Because there was an email that was sent out. I haven't heard anything. So we've
working on finalizing a date for that. Mr. Volkman reached out to me, and we're working on finalizing a date here in the next couple of weeks. So hopefully in the next several days, we'll have a date locked down and we can get a meeting together.
Okay. We need to do it sooner than later.
I would just like to say a fine job with what the fire department did Saturday over there at the lighthouse and all the surrounding units. And like Dale came down with a chainsaw and out and cut a hole in the ice in case you needed water, and just a good job to everybody. Police and fire.
Thank you. There was quite a few departments here. We did have smoke in the building, and we were unable to find where it was coming from. And anytime you have that type of situation in a building that size, you always want to have more people ready to go to fight for you or with you in case something goes wrong. But yeah, there was a lot of departments here, and I thank everybody for all their help. Nobody was hurt. And the fight house, NIPSCO lost the third phase, and it burned up a couple of their air handlers on the roof and all smoke in the building.
Yeah.
So the lighthouse is fine. It's all up and going. Everything's good. They didn't have to have. We went and did an inspection. We made sure everything was good. So they're
Good
back
deal.
to rock and roll. I felt sorry for the people that couldn't have their event that day, but I think they found an alternative. So
Very
Which
good.
one was Great Oaks?
yeah, Great Oaks was one of them. Tom stepped up and helped them out. So
Thank you, Chief.
Thing done. Well,
One thing before we go to written communication, just this past weekend, there was a pretty momentous event that happened with the Crown Point girls varsity basketball team
Yeah.
winning the state championship for the first time since 1985, I believe. We honored the Hanover boys basketball team here last year. I would like to put put together a proclamation also for this Crown Point girls basketball team. Their record of success is unparalleled. It's an unbelievable group of girls. I know my daughter knows a couple of them, and they are quite a spectacular team. And I have a feeling that this won't be their last state title with that group of girls. So
We'll be back then.
Dave, if you could,
Possibly, yeah.
let's work together on getting a proclamation together and inviting some people from Crown Point School Corporation here for a future meeting to honor that team. Okay, written communication, building report.
That's your final page of your packet, Mr. President. Very back, 42, as I mentioned, there were 42 building permits issued in the month of January. We've never done that, Tim, in a January and February combined.
Our current record for January and February combined is 16.
And we did 42 in January.
Yeah.
Yikes. This is gonna be a busy year. Holy smokes. Okay. Open public comment. Mary Jo?
Coming from a family of firemen, I knew the firemen would be there for our president. And also the police are always there when you need them. Getting this resident to his wife's funeral was such a necessary event for him to be able to say goodbye to her. That's above and beyond. The other things Billy talked about, that's your job. You guys do it all the time. We always depend on you to do it. But to get him to that funeral was above and beyond. And that was, we all know we've had to say goodbye to somebody. Can you imagine not having that moment after having what these guys experienced for those days? So I would like to extend a thank you to them on behalf of this resident, because I know he's extremely grateful. He is. And I do have one question. It was mentioned, and it might have been a misspoke, that there was an executive session to discuss the pier. How did that qualify for an executive session?
It was the public land part of it. The
What about you were buying land, selling land? How does that?
It
qualify?
wasn't really executive, was it? I don't know.
Yeah, it wasn't a public.
It was a public meeting.
It was advertised and open to the public?
It was
No.
exact.
yeah, it was executive
Oh, was
session.
it? Okay.
Okay.
Well, there was a request on behalf of the Cedar Lake Historical Association to be able to get the land, the building from the town.
Right.
So that it was a building acquisition.
So they,
There was a
ground-
there was
request.
ground lease discussion for long-term leasing and transfer.
oh, the building. Okay, she said pier, I'm sorry.
Well, the pier is part of the land
Okay.
that's next to the building,
Okay. I just want clarification.
and the grounds are combined.
Just want clarification. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Jo. Any other open public comment?
Good evening, Kevin Toth, 9725B West 129th Place. I just want to say that I think the pier is a great thing that you guys are doing, but I would also like to ask you guys to look into using some of the park impact fees to impact some parks. I mean, our parks in some of the communities and some of the areas are pretty bad. I mean, we can't even get, I take my kids to the Monastery Woods Park, my grandkids, because my kids are too old, but anyway. And we got one picnic table there that everybody tries to sit around, and when there's a bunch of kids in the park, there's nowhere for anybody to sit, or especially us old folks that need a place to sit. So I just would like to urge you guys to come up with a plan, do something for the parks with some of that money that's in the park impact fees.
We actually, Ralph, we discussed that.
Yeah.
We need a meeting like as soon as
I
possible.
talked to Rick this week and we've got plans coming up for Bartlett Wahlberg Park also.
Oh, I know, but I think all the parks need to be
Yeah.
addressed, just even the maintenance of them, and just, sometimes the grass meat doesn't get cut off very often, or just things like that.
Yes, some of that stuff qualifies for use of impact fee and some of it doesn't.
I understand that, but I mean, there are some things that could be done. I know the little slide we had there in the monastery, there didn't have a slide on it for months. So I don't know what happened to it, but, just those little things, I think we can do better.
Yeah, I'd like to see like it done this summer.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Any other public comment?
I don't have a comment, but I do have a request.
Can you state your name and address for the record,
Yes.
please, and stand up there?
My name is Linda Bettenhausen. I live at 104 26 Imperial Place. I'm in the townhomes of of Centennial. I have been calling to find out if there's any kind of city ordinance that has anything to do with people picking up dog waste. I had this issue, I used to live over for 11 years on the other side of the lake at 11331 Lemoore Street. I had issues at that place also with people walking the dogs on the streets and letting the dogs, of course, have waste in the yards. I was fortunate enough to have Tony and Vicky Delaney living right across the street from me. So they started watching my yard and yelling at people and giving them bags to pick up dog waste. I used to live in Crown Point prior to, and I do know Crown Point had an ordinance that if there was any problem with dog waste, that the town took care of it through the police department. And then in turn, if nothing was done about it, there was fines given. So I also have called, and St. John does the same thing, Crown Point, like I do know, Cherville does. And Dyer, I only had somebody who thought that they had an ordinance. They didn't know for sure, and I couldn't get hold through the town. I would like to know if Cedar Lake has any kind of an ordinance regarding dog waste whatsoever.
Not sure. Dave, do you know?
There's an ordinance about animal control, and within that generically, there is a description of waste.
Okay, and if for any reason people were having problems with it, I am on the HOA boards for the townhomes and the association. And the one girl who could not be here with me tonight is the president on the master board, because there's 3 different associations in that subdivision. And they also were trying to find out information regarding this. And like I said, I had a very little problem over by my house, but now we're in a townhome. It's really a quite large magnitude problem. And I was wondering if we could get the town to back us up, or if we had to go and go through our management company, which charges us every time. So I didn't know. Police
Do you think
department
there's
did any
enough clarity,
background?
Bill, in that ordinance?
I would say that if the town attorney thinks that an ordinance is there, that we could attempt it. Ryan would probably have a hard time with it because it's not specific, but maybe we could draft an ordinance for dog waste to attach to that nuisance ordinance. Do you think that's possible?
Yeah, that is absolutely possible.
So I can get some, I can get the, I don't know of one that we have on record specifically for dog waste.
Right.
I agree with you. It should not be on the sidewalks in that area. So
Right.
I can get copies of those, try to come up with something and get it with the town attorney. We speak pretty regularly here recently, so, and see if we can get one drafted and get in front of the town council.
That would be great, because I'm assuming with all the new subdivisions and everything that are going up, I'm assuming I'm not going to be the only one up here someday.
And recently with all the snow, some of the sidewalks have been the only place a dog could
Go.
get to.
Yeah. Yeah,
And,
but you know what,
they've been-
and I
it's
do
been a
have the
struggle.
same problem with, I
Yeah.
have 2 dogs.
Yeah.
And,
But you'd hope people would pick up, if a dog is in a sidewalk, just pick it up and.
Yeah, I mean,
Get
and my
rid of it.
dogs have even gone in the street because we
Sure.
had so much snow over by the townhomes.
Yeah.
It was just buried alive.
But you pick it up and put it in
Right.
garbage. Yeah.
Well, I do. But we have a lot of residents who don't. We were
Sure.
just wondering as the HOAs, what avenue that we have to take through to this, because the management companies is out of Chicago and they're kind of worthless.
Has your property been turned over yet to the town? As the roads? Okay. As long as the town is taking it over, then we can enforce the ordinance on it.
Because Imperial was just turned over recently.
Okay.
And also Freedom Way, which were the last 2 streets that all got built in that subdivision.
Okay.
Okay.
So I was
Came
hoping.
to the right place. It looks like we got our best people working on it.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Mr. President,
That's awesome.
the most efficient form of enforcement here, and I just want this record to say this, we represent HOAs and POAs all over this county.
Right.
Is through your HOA, POA, and your board management, you locally, not Chicago, not Valparaiso, not
Right.
somewhere else. You can take control and enforce the covenants and conditions of your
Correct, which we
housing
do.
community. And
Yeah.
that's the strongest thing you can do to get people's attention.
Yeah, and we have gone in that direction, and what we're going to be doing in time is taking over the management companies, because the management companies are doing nothing for us.
Because truthfully, and
That's the problem.
we need to recognize reality. Bill and his police officers aren't going to easily be able to enforce,
Right,
even if we have black and white concrete law on the books.
right.
because, well, it ranks in priority and sequence of things.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
You are there, you're living there, you're seeing it, you're observing it, you have witnesses, you have your agreements, your covenants by which you have agreed to live in the community,
Right,
and so have the people that are violating those things.
correct.
So want to make certain you know that's your biggest stick.
Oh, yeah, that is true, but we've had one people already kind of yelling at us about, I'm gonna call the police on you for harassment. So we
Tell-
just want to know
Tell them
legally
to call
what,
the police, that's a good thing.
yeah.
So police will come and they'll take care of it.
Ma'am, ma'am,
Yes.
over here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, who's talking?
Ordinance number 99.28 actually describes waste, so we don't even need to do anything with it. As Attorney Austin said, get with your HOA. If you have problems with that, obviously my officers are going to come out there and they can issue citations for it.
Awesome, that's what I needed to know.
Doesn't mean that they will the first time, and maybe it's a warning or a conversation with the owner of the canine. But yeah, we can issue citations on it.
Awesome.
So the ordinance number is 99.28.
99.2. Thank you so much.
That's the town code section. 99.28.
It's a what, I'm sorry?
It's a town code section. It is an ordinance, but it's
It's on the
codified.
Okay.
Codified.
Okay. Thank you so much for giving me time. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda, thank you for coming. Any other public comment? Okay, public comment is closed. The next town council public meeting will be Tuesday, March 16th at 7 PM, preceded at 6:30 PM by a utility board meeting. Until that time, we are adjourned.